Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. The personality that we'd like to look at this evening is none other than Amirul Mu'mineen fil Hadith, the one who is considered to be the leader of the believers with regards to Hadith, none other than Sayyiduna Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. Sayyiduna Abu Hurairah was from the Daws tribe, and he had accepted Islam on the hands of Tufail bin Amr ad-Dawsi. Nabi Sallallahu had made dua that he become a means of guidance for his people, Tufail bin Amr, and when he returned to his people, many accepted Islam on his hands. His initial name was Abdul Shams, and Nabi Sallallahu changed his name. There are 18 opinions amongst the historians as to what exactly did Nabi Sallallahu change his name to. It may have been Abdul Rahman or Abdullah. He was common and he was very famous for having a kitten with him that he kept with him all the time, and that is why he was known as Abu Hurairah, the father of the kitten, the man who keeps a kitten with him all the time. He came to Madinatul Munawwarah just after the expedition of Khaybar, which was around the 6th year after Hijrah. And when he came, Nabi Sallallahu was very happy to welcome him. He came without wife, without kids. The only one that he had was his mother. And because of that, he was able to spend a lot of time with Nabi Sallallahu gaining the knowledge of deen. Now, what perturbed him greatly was the fact that his mother had not accepted the deen of Islam. And one day he went home and he started discussing the deen with his mother, trying to convince her to accept Islam. Yet she wasn't interested. And the more he persisted, the more it aggravated her, until eventually she said certain things about Nabi Sallallahu that really disturbed him. He came to Nabi Sallallahu crying. And when Nabi Sallallahu asked him, what is the matter? He said that I was calling my mother to Islam, and I persisted in that regard until she said certain things about you, O Nabi of Allah, which makes me cry, that things that were inappropriate. He then said, O Nabi of Allah, make dua that Allah guides my mother. And when Nabi Sallallahu made the dua, he was absolutely elated, because he knew the Messenger of Allah was mustajabud da'wat, that his du'as were readily accepted. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah hastens home to inform his mother of the developments. When he comes by the door, his mother says, Ala rislik, wait, you can't come in. He then hears the trickling of water. His mother was taking a ghusl. After she completed the ghusl, she told him to come in. And as he came in, she then recited the kalima, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah was absolutely elated. He hastens back to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now he's crying again, but this time he's crying out of joy that Allah had guided his mother to the deen of Islam. And he comes to convey the good news to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And then he says, Oh Nabi of Allah, make dua. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked him, what dua would you like? And he says, Oh Nabi of Allah, make dua that I become beloved to people. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made that dua for him. And he says that after that, wherever I went, people always loved me. Yet we find in this era, there's a group who tries to discredit Sayyidina Abu Hurairah, simply because if you discredit him, then a large chunk of the ahadith of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gets discredited. And in that way, these people then draw you onto their path of deviation. Allah had granted him such a high position. It is said that on one occasion, Zayd bin Thabit radiallahu anhu and another sahabi and Sayyidina Abu Hurairah were sitting in the masjid and making dua. And then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came there and they remained silent. You know, when someone senior comes and you're talking, you keep quiet. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, what were you doing? Continue doing. So he said, we were making dua. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, make your dua. So they all made their dua, and then Sayyidina Abu Hurairah made dua. And he in his dua said, Allah, grant me whatever my two companions before it asked, and grant me ilman la yunsa, such knowledge that will never be forgotten. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said Ameen to his dua. And when they heard Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say Ameen, the other two said, Oh Nabi Allah, grant, make it such that Allah grants us that also. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, the man from the Daws tribe had beaten you to that dua. And this was the culmination of his dua, where he narrates from Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam 638 ahadith, 1638 ahadith, and that is a large amount of the authentic ahadith that is found in Sahih al-Bukhari. He was a dedicated worshipper. He gave his life for Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he endured great difficulty. He said that sometimes between the mimbar and the room of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he would fall down, and people would think that he's getting a fit. And he says people would come and put their foot on my cheek, because that is how they would treat fits at that time. Yet it was nothing but hunger that was putting me in that condition. He says that one day he was so hungry, didn't know what to do. So he stood by the masjid. And when Sayyiduna Abu Bakr came out, he started asking him various questions about deen, about various ayat, walking with him till the house, hoping that when he comes by the door, Sayyiduna Abu Bakr will say, come inside and have something. But he walks all the way with Sayyiduna Abu Bakr, and they come by the door, they part. He comes back and he sees Sayyidina Umar. Now he starts asking him various questions until he comes to the door of Sayyidina Umar. Sayyidina Umar then enters without telling him anything. Eventually he goes back to the door, and Abu al-Qasim, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam comes. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam sees his condition and knows exactly what is it that he needs at this time. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam takes him to one of his rooms, one of his apartments, and he asks permission for Sayyidina Abu Hurairah to come in with him. There's a bowl of milk over there. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah R.A. says that I see that bowl, and I think that is just enough for me. If I can just drink some of that now, immediately, that will replenish my energy. And then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, oh Abu Hurairah, go look who is at the sufa. And he's saying that I'm looking at the bowl, I'm thinking, how is everyone from the sufa going to drink from this? I would have just loved to drink it now. But anyway, to complete the instruction of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he goes to the sufa and he calls all that were there at that time. They come, and then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, start feeding them. So he feeds one, he feeds the other, everyone drink to their fill. And then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asks him, who remains? So Sayyidina Abu Hurairah says, it's me and you, O Nabi of Allah. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, drink. And he drinks. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, drink more. And he drinks more. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, drink more. And he drinks more. Until he says, oh Nabi of Allah, there's no place in my belly for anything left. Then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, give it to me. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam drinks the remaining that had remained after that. And that was one of the miracles that he had witnessed on the hands of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And he said that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gave him a bag with dates. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made dua for him for barakah in the dates. And he says, after that, whenever I was hungry, I would just take out dates from there. And there was always dates that would be there in. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, don't look what is in and don't empty it. And he says that at the time when Sayyidina Uthman was martyred, at that time my bag also got missing. It was the barakat was taken out of this world because of the tragic event. And he says, people were mourning the death of Sayyidina Uthman, while I had a double grief. One is the death of Sayyidina Uthman, and that my bag was missing. He was such a devoted worshipper that when he eventually got married, then his wife and his daughter, the three of them would divide the night into three parts. He would be in ibadah for the first third. Then when he went to sleep, his wife would take over and she would remain in ibadah for the next third. And then his daughter would take over and she would remain in ibadah for the last third. It was his habit that he would make istighfar 12,000 times every day. Tasbih and istighfar. People ask him, why do you make so much tasbih? He said, I make it equivalent to my sins. He was such a abstinent person and so concerned about his own well-being that he would make dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min azni. Oh Allah, I seek protection that I commit zina. Oh Allah, I seek protection that I commit zina. People ask him, but oh Amirul Mu'mineen fil Hadith, what is it that you have to fear about zina? So he says, but how can I ever be complacent as long as I have my nafs within me? And he loved giving charity. Marwan bin Hakam sent to him 100 gold coins as a gift. Now his intention wasn't just to give him the gift, but he wanted to test him. So he sent it to him, and then the next day he sent a message to say that, you know what, I didn't intend to give it to you, I actually made a mistake. It wasn't for you, please return my gold coins. So Sayyidina Abu Hurairah R.A. said, no problem, I will return it, however I don't have it anymore. He had given the whole 100 gold coins out in charity. He said that, I've given it away, and you can now take that off from my stipend that I received from the public treasury. I will pay you back from that. And Marwan went and investigated the matter, and he found that it was as he had said, that he had given all the gold coins away. And he then told him that it was merely a test that I put you through, and I've seen you to be very, very abstinent with regards to the dunya. He continued to be dedicated to the dissemination of the knowledge of deen, and he remained very, very steadfast. His end came in the time of the Khilafah of Sayyiduna Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala anhum. And on his last moments, he started weeping, and they asked him that, what is it that makes you weep? You're such a fortunate individual. And he said that there's a long journey ahead. There's a long journey, and it's a very lonesome and scary journey. And I haven't prepared myself for the journey, and that is what makes me weep at this time. He took his last breaths at the age of about 70, and this was around 50 after Hijrah. He's buried in Madinatul Munawwarah. May Allah be pleased with him and elevate his position.